Conservatives talk a big game about reducing government spending and the efficiency of government practice, but it's all lies. It's all nonsense. ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, has recently received a major increase in spending from the US government. The stats I have just here, they have got a budget of $27.7 billion, set to be $75 billion over the next 4 years of the Trump administration. Their powers have increased, their spending on vehicles and resources and militarization has increased and expanded, their incarceration facilities have expanded. It's staggering how much is being spent. To put it into context, some nations, some major world players don't spend as much money as ICE are receiving from the US government. And all this is in the name of supposedly liberating America and freeing up the American people from illegal aliens. Now, there's several things wrong with this position. The idea that undocumented immigrants are having any harmful effect on the country is a lie. They actively contribute to America's economy. They are active members of American society. They aren't this threat, this drain on resources. It's all Republican lies. They don't fundamentally understand that there's no link between where someone's from, what someone's immigration status is, and how the country functions. What does matter, of course, is the services people have, the healthcare, the transportation, the education, and these are all things that are being cut in order to fund this lavish project. The Department of Government Efficiency, a fake organisation basically designed to take money out of public resources and hand it to private industry, has never bothered to check what is actually going into ICE's spending. Because if it were to do a proper audit, it would find that it is a waste of money. But it's not a sensible idea to spend billions on armed, untrained, essentially Gestapo agents. They're not of any real sensible actions. They're masked thugs who see someone they don't like the look of that appears foreign, that they maybe have a hint of, some foreign sounding name or accent, and go and grab them off the street and dump them in incarceration. They leave them in what are essentially concentration camps. They've not bothered to check. They're not bothering to go through any sensible procedures. They've ignored countless orders from judges and the general rule of law. They're waiting for Trump and the new Republican government to rule out any protections that exist, trying to increase the fascist presence in American law. And the consequence is an American society that degrades and sees fewer rights and sees a worse state of existence. We're a byproduct of more fascist power. The American state now has the power to detain and arrest more citizens and non-citizens, and anyone really, than it did before. And for what? What is really achieved? What's really been gained through this development of events? Essentially, American conservatives have transformed the country into a cesspit, a burning of money. They've taken resources from those who need it, state agencies and federal agencies that need it, because they hate poor people and they hate marginalised people and they hate the idea that society should have opportunities for all. And they've drafted a radically nationalist imposition onto the American people. Do people want this happening? Obviously, the MAGA diehard Trump fans do. Of course, they love the idea that the enemy, the non-white American society, the supposed aliens are going to be all taken away. But as we're increasingly seeing, as the reality of fascist immigration policy, of ceaseless and uncaring grabbing and detaining of people, as it ripples through America, it upturns communities. It takes away the fun and joy of life. It turns everyday existence into a battlefield. And when we have this, we're not in a good place. We could see that 27.7 billion spent on things that help people, better schools with more resources and trained staff, healthcare that people can afford and everyone can enjoy. transportation that's not in the pits, in the toilet. ICE exists solely to curb the rights of the American citizen, to expand the power of the government, to fulfill the manifest destiny wish fulfillment fantasy that Trump has and his supporters, his ideologues, his nationalist element and core. And ultimately, it's the greatest waste of money we've seen in America for a long time. Let's not forget as well the carbon footprint of this this decision making. Every vehicle they use, every camp they're opening, that all costs energy to run and maintain, fuel, resources. It's a staggering failure of the government to claim this is a necessary thing to have. It's purely a fascist wish fulfillment, and we're worse off for it, either in America or beyond. Abject failure.